This is a pretty important clip that I came across. This is from Terry Mahan. Now, it's not the most scientific explanation of what's going on in the environment. However, it does give us some clues. He's from Redmond, Washington, which seems to be a little bit east of Seattle, Washington. Hanford's probably 200 miles away or so. And he does seem to get some of this grit off of his car, and I think some of the grit that's binding to his car is what's causing the high reading, not only the rain. Now, very well, the rain could be a factor. I just recommend that anybody, if you do have an inspector and you're doing rain samples, to actually test it 24 hours later and see if you're getting the same reading. I think it's possible that our cars, that they're getting these binding radiations that very hard and they stay on there. So he could have a combination of Fuku with Hanford on his car. I think that's very likely. Some of that's going to be binding to the car. Just think every day, the tritium rain, cesium deposits, and so forth. So that's my guess, but this was a real eye-opener. And just another reason that if you haven't changed your air filters in your car since Fuku, I really suggest that you should be changing out those air filters constantly. If our cars are picking up this grime and getting over 1,000 counts per minute, just imagine what's that thing could be lurking in your AC filter.
And what I'm going to do is take a sample of the grit off of my truck, or I could do it from basically any vehicle out here. Because right now we're experiencing a really heavy downpour, and the rainwater is radioactive. Based on some little informal tests I ran, I think this is iodine 131. It certainly behaves like iodine 131. So let's start. So here we've got an inspector radiation alert, which is used by first responders, and it's reading 44 counts per minute. That's a little higher than our normal background, but this bench isn't exactly pristine. I've used it for other measurements. So let me pick up the detector, and I'm going to put it next to this paper towel. And you can see that's 36, 32 counts per minute. That's pretty typical background in this region. So let me go get the sample. The iodine, if that's what it is, can't be detected just by collecting a water sample. It seems like it binds with the crud on the body. Binds with it and then becomes detectable. So what you want is a test sample that looks kind of cruddy in terms of, and this looks pretty cruddy, and I'll bet it's hot as hell. So let's see. Being careful. Oh, listen to that noise. All right.
Sorry, I got to get around straight.
Okay, when I did this earlier this morning, this afternoon, whenever, this morning, I got a count of 1,248 at the peak. So let's see if this goes faster or beyond. Oh yes, this is much better. Oh, I can see it, yeah. So here's the weird thing about iodine 131. I don't recall the freezing point, but the freezing point for iodine to become a solid is below room temperature. So if you have iodine 131 as a solid, as it would be if it were bound with the carbon, maybe not. When you bring it into a warm area, that iodine starts to sublimate into an iodine gas, which incidentally is then breathed into your lungs. Okay, and I think we're seeing that effect right now. You see that the radiation levels are dropping. And that's sublimation rather than the half-life working. So let's try a little experiment. So I claim that this is iodine 131, which is a beta emitter. So beta particles can pass through little bits of paper like this pretty easily. Alpha particles cannot. So if this is an alpha emitter, oh wow, it's back up. If this is an alpha emitter, the paper towel should dramatically reduce the counts per minute. And it doesn't. So what's passing through those towels?
Can't read it.
Oh, well, they could hear the ticks.
Yes, they could.
Okay. And I contaminated the towel, so let's see. So we can do this again. Nah, they're going to have to take it on faith.
And there you have it.
And there you have it. Except one last thing. Stay out of the rain. When it rains really, really heavy, it's radioactive. That stuff gets on your skin, and you're experiencing ionizing radiation. I think of much the same nature of as maybe UV radiation. It's damaging to your skin, and it causes cancer. Good luck.